Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Let's Be Real. Today I'm joined by my great friend Emma. Emma was previously my mindset coach well over a year ago now, and she's become one of my best friends. I just thought it would be great to get Emma on the podcast because she is an inspiration to me and she is a battery. It's like you always say people are sponges, people are batteries, and Emma is a battery.
That's such a cute introduction. Thank you so much for having me on.
So would you like to just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Of course. So where to begin? I'm Emma. I moved to Bali in 2022. Then first of all, my career-wise, I did mindset coaching for like 2 years, and then I branched into becoming a business coach. Wow. Very short summary, but that's kind of the basics of it.
And I know before, Lucy, I have an insight here because I know you. Before you moved to Bali, what were you doing? Like, what were you working in? Or
everything and anything. So starting my career, I was 17 and I worked in a bar for like a year and a half in Dublin. Yeah, that was kind of the start of everything. And I remember like my dad really didn't want me to get a job during college. He just wanted me to study and work hard. But I think that drove me even more to just like get out in the world and actually get a job and start earning my own money. Yeah. So that was kind of my first experience doing that. And I just really didn't like it, but also it was so good for like communication skills, like learning how to like actually work in the real world and stuff like that. So it gave me a lot of knowledge and also gave me a lot of insight in terms of like what I definitely did not want my life to be like in like 5-10 years time. Yeah. So that was like my first job. Then I had my own business, like a clothing brand for a while called Wavy Days, which was really fun. It was kind of like a project during COVID. I was like beanies and crew necks and fleeces, which was really fun. I used to see like meetups back in Dublin, like beach cleans and stuff like that. So that was quite fun. And then I had a sales job for a while as well, out in some like wedding kind of company venue in, where was it, like near Hoth. And then I branched into like events management and marketing as well as like my proper corporate job. So that was kind of a bit of background career-wise.
So you've done everything.
Done everything. There's probably
like
so much
lives.
more in that I can't even. I used to have a doll walking company. I tried to like run an ice bath business for a while. Like I was always very entrepreneurial and tried to like make something of my own work. Yeah. But like just never really cracked it until mindset coaching, and then that was it.
Wow. And did you find it hard going from corporate to a completely different like lifestyle out here?
Yeah. So I feel like definitely the first thing in terms of like going from being held accountable by a boss all the time to working for yourself is that like you obviously have to like pick your own hours, and sometimes it's so hard to like, if someone tells you to come into the office at 9, you're going to be there at 9, but when you tell yourself, oh, I'm going to get this piece of content out today, like sometimes it's hard to hold yourself accountable to doing that. Yeah. So I think like managing my time, but also at the beginning like knowing if I was even doing the right things that were actually moving me closer to where I wanted to be financially in terms of like my career progression, in terms of getting clients. I feel like until I hired my first business mentor, like I didn't really know if what I was doing was actually leading me closer to where I wanted to go. I didn't know if I was working on the right things. So I think those two things, like kind of knowledge in terms of what to work on and accountability, like was the two most difficult things in terms of transitioning from working for someone to working for myself.
Yeah, that's so true, isn't it? Because when we work for somebody else, we are told what to do all the time. And like, it's funny how we will do what we're told, but then when it comes to actually living your dream and going for what you want to do, you're like, there's a lot of like procrastination in that, but that's not necessarily because you're lazy or whatever it is. Like it's maybe like due to lack of self-belief. And did you face any of those limiting beliefs when you were moving from corporate to just creating a whole new life and moving to Bali and starting your own business?
100%. I definitely think like no matter what you do that's new, like you're always going to have doubt at the start of it. And for me, like what really saved me was making sure I networked as much as possible. Even at the very beginning, like I would reach out to people who had 200,000 followers when I had no followers. Like I remember Daniel Dargall was one of the people I reached out to, like asking for tips on content, and he actually responded to me and gave me such good advice. Wow. And even just getting on calls and networking with other coaches. So I think like any doubt I had, that really helped me shift to show me the possibility of what I could create, especially like networking with other Irish people who were like doing really well as well. I think just like every time something creeped in, I always tried to like turn it around and like alter the thought to something more positive and like kind of show myself that it was possible. And I feel like that's the thing, like our thoughts really do create a reality, and our thoughts create like what actions we take as well. So it's so important to kind of like be self-aware of what thoughts are coming into your head in terms of like limiting beliefs and in terms of thoughts that are holding you back, and try to like actively change those thoughts as they're coming in, or finding evidence that they're like not necessarily 100% factual. Because with everything in life, like no matter what we go to do, if we don't have evidence that like we can actually do it, like we're always going to have doubt and like lack of self-belief as well. So it's just about kind of creating as much evidence or finding as much evidence as possible that like we can do what we want to do. Yeah. It's out there. It's like the Raz, like it's like you're going to see like what you believe. Yeah. So it's about constantly just being aware of those thoughts that are going through your mind and trying to choose ones that are actually going to progress you forward and like find as much evidence as possible in that what you can do is so possible for you.
Yeah, and like when you were moving here, did you find anybody that you looked up to that already lived here, or like anybody, whether they were an influencer or whether they were just like a normal person that you knew online? Did you know anybody, or were you just like, let me go find them myself?
Great question.
That evidence.
It's a great question. In Bali, not necessarily. I feel like in at home before I left, like it was so wild, the butterfly effect and the way that things work out. Like before I even started posting social media, I actually bought Sean Casey's social media course. And like it was before I even knew I wanted to be a coach, knew I wanted to build a personal brand. And like I think it was like €500, which at the time for me was so much money. Even now I wouldn't even bat an eyelid investing in myself like €500. But like for me back then, like that was so much money because I had no income. But buying that and doing that, and even like hearing Sean talk on the group calls and like hearing how much he was making from like certain launches and stuff like that was the first like real sense of like evidence that, oh my God, like there's so much possibility to what you can do like if you actually post content and build a personal brand. So like having that, like even before I moved to Bali, was such a good like eye opener in terms of like where I can actually take things if I just committed to actually doing it and actually putting it into action as well. And then aside from that, like just in Ireland, even like I think Daniel Dargan was one, Tara was one who I looked up to, Tara G Fit. If you're watching, she's now one of my best friends. But she was also someone I looked up to. Like I always tell Tara this story, but I remember being sitting in my corporate job, like before I started posting content, looking at Tara's content, being like, oh my God, like she's just so confident. I wish I had that confidence to post online. And then I just started doing it, and now I feel like I have a bit of that as well, which is great. Like
definitely, it's all about. You always said this to me as well, and I think this is something I did before I even realized. But it's all about just like finding somebody who is doing whatever you want to do, or like living a life that you want, whether it's business, whether it's just living somewhere else, finding them and realizing that the only difference between you and that person is just they believe that they can, and they're acting on it, and everybody's winging it.
100%. Every single person. So true. And like they're not any different to you, especially like I feel like just having people, especially from the same place as you, makes it like less easy, because some people put in excuses. Some people are brought up in a different place, in a different environment, but actually seeing people who have a similar upbringing to you in a similar country to you achieve big things, it's like, how can I not do it if they can do it too? Like it's impossible for me not to make it if I just take similar actions to what they took and like be consistent and actually have a direction in my life as well.
Whereas sometimes I feel like we place people on pedestals that are like, say, influencers or celebrities or whatever it might be. You're like, okay, they're there and I'm here. You know what I mean? And you're not seeing yourself as like the same person. But like if you just shift that mindset and be like, no, we're literally the same.
100%.
We're actually the same. Then it makes the path more like feasible, I think.
100%. Or something I see like more commonly even with people at home as well is just talking about people, and like that's what they put their energy into, like talking about people who are doing well, and like even like making up reasons like why they've achieved what they did. Oh, they had it so easy, like they got money from their family, like all these like reasons to make themselves feel internally better, that they're not actually taking the action they need to take to get to where they want to go. But like realistically, if you actually just take that like jealousy and that like envy and turn it into inspiration and just like start like taking the right actions you need to take and following in their footsteps, there's no reason why you actually can't achieve that as well in a sense.
That is so important. And when you were taking that leap and, you know, going off the beaten track, were you ever faced with people's opinions?
100%. I feel like the quote, I feel like it's like people will call you crazy until it begins to work, and then they ask you how you done it. Like that is a very accurate representation of like my journey. But at the beginning, like when I was in college, like with 200, 300 followers, like posting these mindset content, like, but I remember, bless me, like I remember like, I like was going out with someone in Dublin at the time, but like typical like kind of Dublin kind of person, like with the crack, like playing football, playing GA. And I like blocked her and all our friends like from seeing my content, because I was like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed, like, because it was just, I know it was wild, but like that's like the mindset you're nearly in, especially back in Ireland. It was like, if someone said it to me, I think a couple of people said it to me, but I was just like, Scarlett, I was like, shush, please, like, don't bring this up in public, like, and as many people as I possibly could, I blocked from seeing my page.
Okay, so that's how you dealt with that.
That's how I kind of dealt with it at the beginning. Like I was like I'm not going to let these people stop me from creating the life I want, but I also don't want to be faced with that judgment at the beginning. And like I feel like it's part of it. Like you're going to be faced with like probably people's opinions, and probably people like maybe like been like, what the fuck are you doing, in a sense as well. But like for me, just like blocking all those people out until I actually felt a little bit more confident in doing it really helped at the beginning. Like that's kind of how I dealt with it.
That's it.
Until I literally grew my account to 10,000 followers, turned 20,000 followers, I didn't unblock anyone. And then when I started like getting a bit of traction, then I was like, it's not really embarrassing anymore.
You didn't.
It's only kind of cringy and embarrassing until it begins to work, and then everyone will just like be like, well done, fair play.
And that's not necessarily like an unhealthy way to do it, because if people are passing judgment on you and you don't want that energy in your life, it's so okay to block people out. But that's why, you know, some people say, okay, like keep your goals to yourself because like evil eye. And then other people are like, no, say it out loud because then you're attracting it to you. But I think that's something I did as well before I moved out here. My sister, I was only young, I was like 21 at the time, and I had no plan. I had no plan. So I was just like, I'm not telling anyone what I'm doing because I don't even know what I'm doing. But I know I don't want to be faced with, and my friends obviously at the time, they didn't mean anything by it. If they said something or if they passed judgment, like that's their own limit and beliefs. But I was like, I'm not ready to be faced with that. So like that, I couldn't handle it. So I just didn't say anything until a month before I was moving my life somewhere else. I didn't tell anybody.
That's
like
wild.
obviously my family knew and stuff like that, but none of my friends knew. And like 1 month before, I was like, yeah, so I'm actually moving to Bali.
Technically, it's a really good way to do it, because especially if you're not 100% sure like of what you want yourself.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to just tell a lot of people, you're going to be faced with their limiting beliefs being put upon you as well. And then that's probably going to skew your judgment if you're not fully committed and like sure of like your decision, like where you're going. That's going to influence it slightly as well. Yeah. And it comes back to the core principle that like no matter what you want to do in life, no matter what area you want advice on, never listen to people who don't have the life you want, because that's going to be just their limiting beliefs, like their version of reality, their perception of things as well. And that's going to be like skewing your judgment if you're a little bit unsure of something. So like only ever ask advice from someone who's actually living out what you want in that specific area. And I think you can have different people for different areas.
Yeah,
like,
you
can have people for business, you can have people for like relationships, you can have people for like more just like life or like nervous system or like well-being. But like in that specific area, that person has to be where you want to be.
They want to like, you want that person to embody what they're telling you to do.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Obviously, it's so easy to give advice. And then like, you know, if your friends even come to you for advice and you're like, do this, but you're like,
yeah.
I've been doing this for 100%. You know what I mean? But it is so true. And I remember that's something that you told me that stuck with me. Like always choose advice from people who are living the life that you want.
100%.
You know, and like just look at them for inspiration and take what you can from them.
100%. It's like, would you take business advice from someone that's making €500 in their own business? Like probably not, because they're not going to have like the right knowledge to actually help you and get you where you want to go.
Yeah.
I think this is like a bit of a controversial one, but it's like even parents, like parents is like, oh, like like I'm always like listen to your parents is what you're taught and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, you should always like take their advice and stuff like that. But a lot of the time, like they were brought up in such a different generation to us. Like what they learned and what they believe to be possible is so different to what's actually possible in this day and age as well. And I think like that's one thing that like really like had to land with me as well. Like my parents like telling me like, don't be posting on social media, like don't like work for yourself, like get a safe, secure job. And as much as they had my best interests at heart, like that wasn't necessarily going to get me to where I wanted to go, because they don't have the life I want. They don't have that freedom. Like they can't travel whenever they want. Like they're stuck like necessary, like kind of at home, like in jobs. Yeah. I don't want that for the rest of my future, my life as well. So like that's something as well. It's like even your parents sometimes might not have the best advice for you based on like what your goals are. Like. So
obviously we love and respect their parents and stuff like
100%.
that. But like you said, their life is completely different. So say if there's somebody listening who is like resonating with this right now, and they're in a situation, whether it's like a job, a relationship, whatever it might be, that they have like this perfect thing on paper. They're like, okay, I'll have my dream job or I have my dream relationship, but something just doesn't feel aligned. Like what would you say to them?
So we'll say like with their job. So we'll just say job first of all. So even like they have a job and it like they on paper it's like, yes, this is everything they want.
And like their parents could be like, yes, like dream job, whatever it might be, say they're a doctor. Just for this instance, like what? But they know, okay, this isn't aligned. Do you know? Because like, obviously you felt that when you were working in your corporate job and you had that safe job that your parents wanted you to be doing, but you're like, okay, I have it, but this doesn't feel good.
Like if you have that niggle, like there is something more for you out there.
Yeah.
100%. If you wouldn't have that niggle or that like, oh, there's something else, if there wasn't something else. So I feel like if we'll say just like relation to career first of all, like sitting down and asking yourself like, what is my dream day of work? Like what does that look like? Because a lot of people don't even do that because like that's like ridiculous. That would never be possible for me. But like you can create any kind of life you want as long as you take consistent action and have that vision first of all. But you need to kind of know what is your ideal work day? Like what would you be doing in an ideal world on a day-to-day basis? Like how many hours would you be working? Like would you be working online or in person? Just like all of those little kind of details. And I feel like crafting like a little bit of a vision from that in terms of like what would feel so fulfilling for me to actually do on a day-to-day basis. That's step one, because once you have the vision, then it's just a matter of like execution and taking action to make it a reality as well.
Yeah.
And like I never recommend just like quitting your job, sacking it off and like going to work for yourself with no idea what you want to do. Like I think step by step, like the first step is just sitting down and actually asking yourself the question like, what do I want my life to look like? What do I want it to feel like? How many hours do I want to work? All of those little questions. And then that's going to be like the probing factor of starting to create that vision for yourself.
Yeah.
And from there, like piece by piece, just take step by step and even dedicate like 1 hour or 2 hours a week at the start if you're busy, just to like actually sitting down and asking yourself these questions. I feel like that will be so helpful with just like starting to like actually bring that vision to motion and actually creating the life that you want in a sense.
Yeah, I think that goes for like a lot of areas of life. You could do that even for like your relationships or like whatever area of your life that you actually want, first getting clear on the vision and then acting accordingly based off that.
100%. And even then relation to relationships as well. I feel like people can have this sense of security, but it's not necessarily 100% like what they want in life. And like it's the case that sometimes it's like that middle ground of like comfort is nearly the worst place to be in job and relationships, because your job or relationship, it's not bad enough for you to actually take action to like make changes, but it's not everything you want either. You're just kind of floating in this like middle ground of like comfort as well. So like I think that's one of the most dangerous places to be in early, because it's like you're settling, but it's not bad enough for you to actually implement changes like to leave in a sense as well. I think if you're in that middle ground, it's like so important to ask yourself, what is it I really want out of this? And like believe that that's possible for you, and then just take action and make it happen as well.
Like you don't have to settle for like a mediocre life.
No.
Like we said, we're not out on our parents here, like trashing our parents, but because we've seen our parents like live a certain way, what you see as a child is so important. And then you're seeing that life play out and you're like, this is how it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? And then sometimes I'm sure there's people listening who could sometimes feel guilty for wanting more, because they're like, well, I have everything that I should want on paper, but it's just not fulfilling that side of myself.
100%.
You know?
Definitely.
And like, was there anything in you that had to change for you to go all in on what you wanted?
I actually, in hindsight, got so lucky, but I thought it was very unlucky at the time. But like I always knew I wanted to work for myself. Like I always knew I wanted a life of freedom, but I had that secure job. Like I had a really safe, secure job. Like it was not too bad, got paid well, got to go to events, got to travel. And like in my mind, like I probably would have kept working that job until I was able to like make enough money on the side to actually go all in. But after working that job for like, I think it was like 8 months, I got made redundant. And like that was my sign to just like obviously go all in on myself. But like at the time I was distraught. Like I was like, oh my God, like have I done something wrong? Like lack of belief in myself and all this. But little did I know, like master plan was been put into motion of like actually helping me go all in on my own work in terms of what I actually wanted to do in life. So after that, like I was like, okay, this is my sign. Moved back to Bali with my 700 followers and 2 clients. And I just went all in on making it happen. I was like, I'm posting twice a day. I was like, got a business mentor as well. What else did I do? Like just commit, like really just commit to it for the first time ever. And I was like, there's no plan B, like this has to work. And when there is that, like no backup plan or no like thing that you have to lean on, like you will make it work. Like you have the ability to make it work. 100%.
And that comes down to like as well, you said you were like really upset that you got made redundant, and that is obviously difficult, but that was redirecting you to something else. So in a sense, like rejection, obviously you weren't rejected in this instance, but it's like redirection.
100%.
For like, it was pushing you into the life you wanted. Because I think like we spoke before and you were like, I would have just probably stayed there. I mean, you wouldn't have, but like in that time, you're like, I would have stayed there comfortably.
It would have took a lot longer.
Because you have that, you know what I mean? So it's like people that have everything that they want, they just kind of stay in that because they're like, well, I do get paid every month, or I am safe here in my hometown and I know my hometown really well and whatever it is. But sometimes all you need is that big push.
100%.
You know,
and
to
I have
actually
to make it work in a sense as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like even like me and you talk about this a little bit, but like that upper limit, it's like sometimes like even when you start to make changes, even though like it's way better and you're actually like a lot happier and like you're a lot more fulfilled, sometimes because that's unfamiliar, it can be like, oh, like this is actually too good to be true. And sometimes we can self-sabotage back then to that place of like familiar comfort, like back to the job that's secure, back to like living with our parents, living in our hometown, all that stuff too. But I think it's a matter of like pushing through that first initial stage of like discomfort, even if it's like something better for ourselves as well, and continuing to grow like past that to actually get used to and get accustomed to living like a life that we actually truly enjoy in a sense as well.
Yeah, that's what you'd say is important. If somebody is like, I know I want more for myself and right now I keep getting in my own way. Like, how would you say that they get that is self-sabotage in a way, like that they overcome that, like they push past that level of discomfort.
100%. I feel like environment is just key to everything, and who you surround yourself with, because if you have the right people around you, when that happens, they won't let you slip back into that, because they'll pick you back up and they'll be like, come on, no, like we have a vision here, like, you know, I know what you want to create and I know what you're capable of. But when you're around people that like just don't see that for you in a sense as well, like when you slip back, they're like, yeah, come on, let's go out Saturday night, and then they pull you back into that life that you don't want to live in that sense as well. So I feel like being so selective of those core like 2, 3, 4 people that you're around like most of the time as well is so important, because that will dictate where you are in like 3, 4
the 5 people theory. I think I mentioned this in my last podcast, but it's just so true. Like the 5 people theory, you become the people you surround yourself with. So like take a look at who they are right now, and not in like a judgmental way or whatever, but it's kind of like you can see your future in the people you hang around with.
100%. Even I was telling you recently, like something even on a smaller scale, like I've heard this quote for years and years and years, but like it's just becoming more and more, you know, real life scenarios of it actually coming into play. But like me and Eve have moved in with like a girl who's really into like her food and biohacking and stuff like that as well, and like really cautious of what she eats. And like me and Aoife, like we'd obviously eat really healthy, definitely, but we wouldn't be like really like organic or like making sure we have like sunflower seeds around like our time of month and like all these like little things. And because like she was talking about it so much, me and Aoife just like naturally started like looking at our food a little bit more, looking at the oils that are in our food. And it just goes to show like even like a smaller scale, like we've only been living with her a month now, but how much that she's influenced us, like just by talking about what she does towards like eating more like better food and stuff like that as well. But like in the same way, like if we moved into a house with someone, like obviously now we know that's not the life we want, but if we were like on the verge of like that, like you said there, like moving up but then like bringing ourselves back down, and you moved into a house with someone who was partying like 4 nights a week, going out, like having the crack, like you move in and you're like, this is not the life I want anymore. But after like a week, after 2 weeks, you just see it all the time where you're like, oh, maybe I will go out and like Friday night with you, and you kind of get dragged back into that life as well.
Because you're kind of the one in that instance. If you're on alcohol or whatever it is, or you just don't want to party as much anymore, you feel like the odd one out.
Exactly.
So then you're like, okay, I'm the odd one out here. Like, am I weird for not wanting to go out and party?
100%. 100%.
You know, because like everybody around you is doing something.
Literally.
So like that's what you kind of feel like when, I don't know if you felt like this when you wanted to live here, let's say, like people were like, where is Bali?
100%.
Like, what's Bali? That's in the jungle.
Like, why are you
going
there?
You feel like the weird one. But then when you're put in an environment where people think similarly or you on the same wavelength, it can be so uplifting.
100%. And like even if you don't have that luxury right now, maybe you're from a small town somewhere and you actually don't have those people, like there's so much communities, even like online communities, like mentorships you can join. Like there's so much ways of putting yourself in environments with people who are actually having the life you want and living the life you want in a sense as well. That's not necessarily like in person. So like don't even think to yourself, oh, there's no people like that around there too. Like there is ways of finding those people, whether it be online, whether it be like through networking events, through going on retreats, through like group trips, through like traveling, through like just literally meeting them online as well. There is ways to find those people for you too, and it's so important to have 100%. Those people.
And I noticed even since I've lived at home, like it's been a long time, but now there's so many events.
So many.
There's
so
like
many run clubs.
So many run clubs. Like that's like a new trend, which is so good. There's like paddle, there's you know, like those yoga beach events that people go to. So like there, if you go to somewhere, you will find more like-minded people. So say 100%. You love the gym, you're going to find some like-minded people in the gym or
100%.
Whatever it is. Like if you're going to these events, you're bound to find people.
100%. That's why I always used to say to people, like when I was mindset coaching, it's like, if you want to meet new friends, ask yourself like, who is my dream friend? Like what hobbies do they have? What qualities do they have? And then ask yourself, where would these people hang out with the weekends? Like would they be in a nightclub or would they be at a run club as well? And then just start putting yourself in more environments that these people would actually be.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the easiest way to like meet those people.
Yeah, and it's the same for your partner. It's the same for everything. It's about getting like super clear. And maybe not having like, well, you could. I mean, you could have like a massive list and like, if you knew that, I know that sounds like maybe I'll say that. Or you could have a massive list and stuff like that. But it's obviously always good to have a vision of either how you want your life to be, how you want a person in your life to be, how you want to be treated, how you want to feel. You know?
First step of like, it's like, one is if you have the vision in your mind, then you can actually start to create it, but you can't create anything that you don't like have any sort of idea in terms of what direction you want to go. Like you have to have that like vision, and like can adapt it, it could change. You don't have to have it all figured out, but you just kind of have to have an idea of what you want first of all, and then you can take action to make it happen. But like the idea is the core of like everything that comes into reality. Like first of all, the vision has to be created, and you have to actually sit down and ask yourself what you want, and then you can actually take action towards it.
Yeah, and like obviously the vision becomes important when you try see it in your mind's eye. Like, is visualization or like manifestation something you have used to get you where you are? And I think a lot more people are open to it lately, and
100%.
before they'd be like, what the fuck is that wishy-washy bullshit, but now it's actually like becoming like more accepted and stuff.
100%.
So is that something you use to help get you to the place where you're at right now?
Definitely, like without a doubt, like even from the very beginning. I don't even talk about it a lot on social media, but like even just true, like if you're not spiritual, like the actual logic of being able to like plant seeds in your subconscious, it's back to like the Raz. If you're like going out on a Monday morning and you're like, okay, red car, red car, red car, you're going to pick up on all the red cars that are around you. So it's like priming your subconscious to see what you want and like the opportunities to get you to where you want to go. Similarly then, if you apply that to like manifestation, if you're thinking about like, okay, creating my dream life, opportunities, like growing, personal branding and stuff like that. If you're going out with that subconscious seed planted, like you're going to see more opportunities to be able to help you and assist you to get there. Like you're going to probably build more connections with people who can give you advice on personal branding, or you're just going to see so much more opportunities that you wouldn't usually see. So like that's the scientific end of things. But I think like visualizing and like really just like seeing and feeling the life you want before you get there, you'll also like know what to do when you get there, and you'll have like a better understanding of not to self-sabotage when you get there, because you've already kind of lived it in your mind as well. And like our minds cannot tell the difference between something we imagine and something that we're actually living. It's crazy, the correlation between those two things as well. So like by priming your subconscious and priming your brain to get used to the life you want, to get used to where you want to go, like it's just such a cheat code to success, and like getting you to where you want to go so much faster as well.
It is.
It's definitely something I've always done and always will do in relation to like my goals, in relation to where I want
And
to
do
go.
you feel like that's gotten stronger since like you've been put in like this environment of being surrounded by people who are like open to that? Like when you first got here, was this something that you were like kind of closed off to, or was it something that you always kind of believed to be true?
In terms of like manifesting, like not on the level that like of knowledge I've gained and like how I do it now, but I've always kind of been about like what's even 2 years before I moved to Bali, like those principles in terms of like writing down what I wanted to go and taking aligned action and like everything that comes with that, visualizing. But when I came to Bali, like I remember, like it's so weird, it just goes to show you like your environment so as well. Like I remember I have a picture on my phone like that I saved that came with my memories. And I was like, oh, like people in Bali are all about like looking for signs, like the universe and stuff like that. But everyone's so happy, so there must be something to it. And, like a picture I had saved, and I read it back like just like a couple of months back as well. And it was 2 years since I'd written it, and I was like, oh my god, like I'm one of those people now. But like I think like when you trust in something greater than yourself, and like when you have belief that it will all work out and stuff like that as well, and like when you like kind of live life in that way, like it becomes like so much more flowing and so much easier as well. Like if you're just constantly trying to put pressure, trying to like graft, like life can just feel so unfulfilling sometimes. But
and you can put a lot of resistance in that.
100%. But I feel like when you just like trust a little bit more, it doesn't matter like what you believe in, everything's like the same principles, whether it's like a God, whether it's the universe, whether it's like a creator, like what religion you are, it's all the same kind of like principles in terms of like what you do. So I feel like just having something to believe in that's outside of yourself is like so powerful in terms of just living a fulfilling life ultimately.
And I think it helps to kind of lift you, because obviously we do get those periods where you and at the end of the day where we're like, oh, like seriously, like, and you need to keep going. But I am somebody who believes in signs, and sometimes I kind of fall out of that and fall back into it. I never stop believing, but I'd be like, I kind of just forget to look for like the magic in everyday life or whatever it is. But even like yesterday, there was like a ladybird in like the pocket of my bike, and it stayed there the whole day, and I was like, what does this mean? Or like if I want confirmation or a sign on what I should do next, if it's like a big decision, like I will look for a really specific sign, and
always
if it's meant to be, I get it. And it could be in the most random way. I could see it pop up on a reel, or like one really weird one was that I was like, I don't know if I want to take this direction or this direction, and I was like, okay, I want a sign of a blue butterfly, like I really do. Anyways, that was like a day or two before, and then I was over in my sister's house, and her partner's mom was like, okay, let me just go upstairs and show you the shoes I bought. And then she comes down the stairs, and on her shoes was a blue butterfly, like a massive blue butterfly. And I was like, I just start pissing myself, because I was like, this is so funny.
That's so
like all I do is
mad.
just laugh, because I'm like, okay,
thank you.
It just helps me trust.
100%.
It helps me trust in like you said, things outside myself, where sometimes when I'm lacking my own guidance, like I can just look for it in other places.
1,000,000%. I feel like when you're like so busy and so rushing all the time. Like you're going to miss those synchronicities. You're going to miss those signs. Like you have to be like a little bit kind of more calm and like more observant to actually see the signs that are given. But like you're never going to get that if you're just going here, rush, jam-packed day, and then you have no time to yourself as well. So it's also important, I feel like, when you're looking for that, to give yourself like space and time and be observant to actually receiving what you ask for in a sense too.
Yeah, and to have like such a strong mindset that I believe that you have now, and I feel like a lot of other people that know you, how do you have any like practices to help you kind of like maintain that, or like how do you give time to yourself? Like say if somebody's listening that's really struggling with, okay, I actually feel like all I do is rush and I never sit down, I never take a minute. Like, is there any practices that you would say to start off on to help them, you know, cultivate that?
100%. So I feel like one thing that like works really well for me that I just love is this thing. I only started doing it last year, but it's called scripting. I tell you all about that as well. It's so good. So basically it's like, I obviously do, if again, just like even before anything else, I always just do brain dumps and journaling, because a lot of the times, like even in our mind, just like even before I get into scripting, like the same thoughts are going around over and over again, and we can't really make sense of them because they're just up in our minds. But just honestly getting those thoughts down onto paper is the first step in terms of like actually realizing like what's there and like recognizing them, just getting them off your mind as such as well. So like I always just do journal dumps every day. So like make sure that like my thoughts are just down on paper and I can actually just look at them from like a logical, like analytical perspective, as opposed to like sometimes your mind can just take you to places. You'll have a thought and that will lead to another thought and another thought, and you can just spiral down this like pool of negativity almost in a sense as well. But when you put them on paper, I feel like it's so much easier to look at it like logically and be like, okay, this thought is not true, this thought's not true, and it just kind of stops the spiral. So that's one thing I always make sure I do, is just these journal dumps first of all. And also that just helps with like organising, planning my day, tasks and stuff like that too, because it's so counterproductive to be like, oh, I must do that, I must do that, I must do that. And you're just wasting so much mental energy thinking about what you must do without any plan to actually do it. So also with that journal dump, I'll write down like everything I have to get done today, and I'll just kind of time block that into my day or into my week as well.
Yeah.
So that's like the first two things. And then I have so much more mental space and like mental capacity to think about other things.
For like creative stuff and everything like that. Yeah.
The same thoughts are going round in your head over and over again, same tasks and stuff like that. You're going to have no space in your mind to actually think about anything else in terms of like what you want, or like just you'll have no mental clarity.
Yeah.
That's like one thing that definitely really helps, like first of all. And then secondly, I'll do this thing called scripting, where like most of the time I take like one area of my life through like a season. So like for a month or two, or for a month, I'll take like one area of my life. So either like relationships or friendships, like career, health and fitness, or like money or something like that. So far like this year and last year I did like relationships was like the big first one I did, which is like a story in itself.
And that being paid off.
It really paid off. Got my dream relationship, everything that came with that as well. And then this season of my life, it's all a bit about career. So what I'll do is like, I will just kind of like get clarity on what my goal is. So say like right now it's like more income, like making more of an impact, getting more messages of people, like saying how much it changed their lives and stuff like that too. And I'll just pick random days in the future and I'll write that day as if it's already happened in terms of what I want to happen. So like one I've been doing recently is I've just created a content course, and I've been writing down, I was like, we'll say like 15th of September, I just woke up to €2,000 in my bank account, and I messaged of someone saying how much the course has impacted them and changed their life and stuff like that. And I'll write out the whole day as if it's already happened.
So like specific, like specific.
Like so, like kind of associating and feeling the feelings as if it's already happening in my life now. And I feel like that in itself, oh my God, like so much like synchronicities happen with that as well. Like even so far, that's something I've been working on the last couple of weeks as well. And like I hadn't even launched the course yet, and I've got 3 people bought it already, which happened in my sleep as well. And I woke up to the messages of them asking to join. So even that synchronicity just showing me that like it's all happening and it's coming in and it's going in the right direction just really helps. But it also helps me, give me so much time and space for getting clear on like what I want my business to look and feel like as well, because
like that vision that we spoke about earlier.
Exactly. A lot of the times you're just motoring on, like even in business, like even when you start your own business, thinking and doing what you should be doing or you think you should be doing, without actually asking yourself like, what do I want my life to look like with my business? How do I want this to fit into my lifestyle? Like how do I want this to feel? Like how many people do I want to work with? But giving yourself space and time to do this just helps you gain so much clarity in terms of like where you're going with it, like and how you want it to look and feel, rather than doing what you think you should do as such as well. So that's what like something I always do as well. So I think out of 3 things, just to summarize, I would always do like journal dump, like first thing in the morning, like no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're doing in life, whether you have a corporate job, whether like you work for yourself, just getting all your thoughts down on a sheet of paper first thing in the morning to be able to like get them off your head.
There's no right way to do it either.
No right way.
I was like, I don't know how to journal, but I'm like, my journal entries be like, hello, this morning I am here. Like, do you know what I mean? Sometimes I could go deep, sometimes
100%
just surface level.
And listen, you need to go and like obviously you have thoughts every single day, so write them down. That's it. That's all you have to do. There's no right way or there's no wrong way to do it. It's just a matter of getting thoughts out of your head onto paper. And secondly is the tasks as well, because that's something that consumes a lot of mental space for a lot of people, is like, oh, I must do the laundry, I must bring my dog to get groomed, like I must like take out the bins and stuff like that as well. So like kind of like allocating them a specific time and day to do as well, that's going to clear up so much mental space for you to focus on actually what you want to do and other things as well. So those two things, and a paired with like scripting to get clear on my vision as well, I think there would be the first three things I try to like implement if I was back to the beginning and just wanted like more mental clarity and like to get past limitations and limiting beliefs and like create my vision.
Just jumping in here quickly to say, if any of this conversation is landing, this is the exact kind of work I help my clients with. I help women rewire their beliefs so they can step into the most confident version of themselves and create a life they actually enjoy and love, whether it's in their career, their relationship, whatever matters most. So if you want to learn more about that, you can find it in the description or in the show notes. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the episode. So moving on from that, is there any like particular practices or things that you do that help you overcome limiting beliefs? Because obviously we're all faced with them. Like, it's not when you get to a certain level they just disappear. They never do.
100%.
Unfortunately.
100%.
You know, but you just move from, you kind of like a wave, you just keep moving up. So like, yeah, is there any, how do you deal with those?
100%. I feel like at a conscious level, I feel like, I love this analogy, it's like an overgrown field of grass, right? And like every limiting belief or like self-limiting thought or negative thought we had, that's like walking a path in that like field of grass that's overgrown. And the more times we take that path and the more times we continuously go down that path, it gets like more and more battered down, and that just becomes the easiest path taking the field. So like to create a new path, like it's going to be very difficult at first, and there's going to be a lot of resistance. So we'll kind of replace those limiting thoughts with like self-belief thoughts, like empowering thoughts and positive thoughts. It's going to be hard initially because that path again is quite overgrown, and the easiest path to take is that one that's already battered down. So I think like at the beginning, it's like, first of all, recognizing what thoughts are coming up. So that self-awareness piece where you're like, okay, like this is not factual, this is just a limiting belief or a limiting thought. Maybe it's like I could never live that life, I can't do that, I am not capable of that, I'm not good enough, like anything like that that's coming up and that you're telling yourself. The first thing is to realize that it's not a fact, and it's just your mind playing tricks on you. And like, that's why I always say to Aoife, like, it's your mind playing tricks on you, and it's a limiting belief. And once you recognize that, then it's like about consciously trying to replace that with the positive opposite. Again, it's going to be hard at the start because like that path's quite overgrown. But like say like, let's just take like I'm not good enough is coming up. Then I would say to yourself, okay, but I am good enough. And then again, resistance there as well.
It's like affirmations. That's what people
100%.
say. Like,
but that's the thing with affirmations, well, you need evidence then to like actually give yourself that validation that it is 100%. True. So that's why I'd say like, I am good enough. But then I ask yourself, like, give me 3 examples of things that I've done in my lifetime that like shows me that I'm good enough. So like whatever you've done that like you felt good enough for doing, or you felt like really like proud of yourself for doing, like take note of that. And when you're thinking of that like new thought, reference back to that evidence as well. And the more times you like consciously choose to do that, the easier and easier it's going to be to take the positive path instead of the negative path. That's going to get like, the negative path's going to get more overgrown, the positive path's going to get more battered down. It's going to be easier to take that positive path and empowering thought rather than the limiting belief or limiting thought as well. So I think like the 3 steps is, first of all, self-awareness and recognizing that the thoughts that you're thinking that are holding you back are actually not facts. Secondly is consciously replacing it with the positive opposite. And then thirdly is finding and creating as much evidence as possible for the positive opposite as well. Because affirmations, they don't work if you are like, it's called cognitive dissonance. If you're saying something but internally you don't believe that's one bit true, like if you're looking in the mirror and you feel like shit and you're saying, oh, I'm so pretty, I'm beautiful, and like no part of you believes that,
and you feel that, you feel it definitely, you're like, ugh.
That's going to be so counterproductive actually like creating that new belief. So what you need to do is like, even just like if you need to dress yourself up, or you need to think back to a time that you felt pretty, but you need to like somewhat believe that thought that you're saying, and then it's going to actually lead to you like changing that thought as well. Maybe you don't even need to dress up, you just need to feel yourself, like go for like a shower and brush your hair, like do something to make yourself feel nice. And then some part of you is going to believe that a little bit more, so it's going to create that like belief a lot stronger than it would be if you have like no belief that that's actually true as well. So I think evidence is like the biggest one. Like everything comes back to having evidence that you can do and you are what you say you do and you say you are, in a sense as well. If you don't have some, you can just create some. You can just like put it in your calendar to like go create this evidence, like that I can do this. Like say if it's like a belief that's like, oh, I can't, I'm not good at
running,
or like running. Like, go run a kilometer and then like fucking prove to yourself that you can do it. Like, and then you're going to have that little bit extra confidence in yourself that you actually are good at it.
That's it, because this is actually a series I'm doing at the minute on my channel, but a lot of people are like, oh, she's just born that way, or she's just confident, or whatever it might be. But like nobody, okay, yes, we are all confident as children. Like you don't really have any shame when you're a child. You'll 100%. Like do whatever you want. You don't care. You'll fart. You'll do whatever. You don't give a shit. Like you're like, I don't care. But obviously, as we get older, that's when we get, you know, society's limiting beliefs, our parents' limiting beliefs, stuff passed on to us, and we absorb that like sponges. But confidence comes through action.
Literally.
You know what I mean?
Completely. And it's
So,
like, also self-trust. Like, this is one thing I've learned as well. And like, say like back like 5 years ago, even in college, like even just the little things, like I used to tell myself, okay, gonna get up at 7:30 this morning or 6 o'clock this morning, gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna get some work done before I have to go to work or before I have to go to college.
Yeah.
Then I'd snooze my alarm, I'd lie in and then I'd be rushing out to work. And like, even though that might seem small and insignificant, like that is just evidence that like I can't keep the promises I make to myself. So obviously I'm not going to be confident in myself and like my ability to actually do like what needs to be done if I can't keep that promise to myself. So I think being so careful of the promises you make to yourself too. Like if you say something, follow through with it as if it's like an actual appointment. Like you wouldn't like sack off your nail appointment like 5 minutes before it's supposed to be on, like at all. So same goes with like what you plan to do like for yourself as well. And like even those little minor things that you just follow through with, that's going to lead to you being more confident as a person as well, because you're just creating, as I said, that evidence that you can keep your own promises and you can do like what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
And that's going to lead you to be
It's
more
like
confident
having
as a
that
person.
respect for yourself.
100%.
You know, it's even starting small. So I know when, say for example, the perfect example of this is like the new year, when everyone's like, right, they haven't ran 5K ever in their life. So like, right, tomorrow, getting up, no alcohol, gonna run 5K. I'm like, okay, yeah, you will be able to do that if you do it, but start small. Start with, okay, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna make my bed. If you are somebody who does not keep promises to yourself on a like quite often, just start so small. Do you know what I mean? Because there's no point in being like here and then I'm gonna jump here.
100%. Like stop over promising yourself. Like stop over promising and just literally start with the absolute basics and like make sure that anything though you do promise yourself, you're 100% committing to executing as well. And like even with that as well, like stop putting it off. Like if you want to make a change, make a change right now. Like not Monday, not next week, like not in the new year. Like make the changes immediately, as small as they are. Even if it's the most tiny change, like start now, because there'll never be a perfect time to do something, and there'll never be a time where you're 100% going to feel like ready to doing something as well, or for going through something. So there's no time at the present.
Yeah, there's not, and you can always find an excuse. Like say if I'm like, okay, right, yeah, I'm actually going to start trying to run in January, but I'm like, why?
100%. Yeah.
Like, why wait?
Like something like I learned as well, the time's going to pass anyway.
It is.
Month's going to pass, 3 months is going to pass, a year's going to pass. Like, do you want to be in the exact same situation a month from now or 6 months from now? Or do you want changes to be made in your life? That's the question like you have to ask yourself. And if you do the same things that you've continuously done for the last year of your life, nothing's going to change. Like you have to change something like for yourself, whether it's hiring a mentor, or whether it's like been around different people, like been going, making more friends, like kind of expanding your network, like whatever it is, like unless you do something different to what you've always done, nothing's going to change.
I love that saying. It's like, if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always gotten. And that can be taken in a good thing. Or like say if you're applying that sentence to your life right now and you're like, get a bit nervous, then that is just a positive sign for you to change something
100%
about your life.
And this one I love as well. It's like everyone now, think back to the last 7 days of your life. Like, what have you done the last 7 days? Like, did you enjoy your life? Like, were you happy? And what actions did you take to actually create in your future as well? And like multiply that by a year. Ask yourself, like, if I repeat it the last week for the next year, would I be closer or further away from my goals?
Wow.
Like even ask yourself that. It was one thing, I think I seen it on Instagram like back before I actually started getting into coaching as well. And it really hit me. I was like, I have not done one single thing this week to actually move me closer to the life I want. And that's all like success is. It's just like consistent action, and it compounds. Even though a week might seem insignificant, a week by 52 is a year. A week by, I don't know, whatever, 104 is 2 years as well. So it's like those actions that you take every day and every week is what is going to dictate where you are in 1 year's time or 2 years' time.
Yeah. And say if there's something that came to my head, say if there's somebody that's listening, okay, and they're not necessarily happy in a situation they're in right now, and say it's related to their job, okay, but they work 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, and they're like, right, well, I don't have time. Like, what would you say?
Like, how much do you actually want it is what I'd say as well, because like I was working a 9 to 5 and I made time like in the evening times. I would spend the whole evening like creating content, learning content creation as well. On my lunch breaks I would do it, in the mornings I would do it. Like, how bad do you actually want to get out of the situation you're in, and how much does your goals and your vision mean to you? Because if it means enough to you, you will find the time and you'll create the time. Like, there's no such thing as not having enough time. It's just that it's not a priority for you, because if it is a priority for you, you will create the time. Like, that is as simple as that as well.
It's like a harsh truth.
Harsh truth.
But it is a truth.
It's an absolute fact, 100%.
People don't like to hear it, because then they're like, oh shit, like I'm responsible. But there's actually so much beauty in being responsible for your life, because
100%.
if you are responsible, you can change it.
100%. And everything in your life, like everything, like it comes back down to you. Nobody you can blame for anything but yourself. Like even people will say like, oh, it's my boss's fault, it's my coworker's fault, I'm in a bad mood today. Like you can choose to think differently and like have a different perspective on what's happening, and like you can choose to change your job, and you can choose to go and like look for a new job. Like you have choice. It's one of the most beautiful and powerful things that like we can create a reality, but like when you're putting that blame external onto something else that's not you, you're taking away your power, because that means if it's someone else's fault, I can't change it. And then that means like you're not in control of your life. So that's a shitty place to be.
Yeah.
So take it back and say like, I am responsible for every single thing in my life, good or bad. And then that allows you so much power to actually create that life you want and that reality you want as well.
It's like that gives you, say, if you've been through a situation that you don't want to accept responsibility for, like just take the accountability for your side at least. And then you're like, okay, now I am empowered. And now I know I have my power back, and I'm going to stand in my power and change the situation.
100%.
So I know a lot of people don't want to hear it, but
yeah, 100%.
Sorry.
And, like even with like grudges and stuff, like you might think like, oh yeah, like I hate them and stuff like that.
What
they
did
this?
Oh no, but they did like something really bad. And okay, we're not invalidating that they didn't do something bad to you or whatever. But I think I read it in Bex King's book years ago. You probably read it as well. But it was like holding like a grudge against people is like carrying, I don't know if he said like poison around, like coal. Yeah, carrying coal, because like you're just holding the coal in your hand and you're burning yourself, because that person is just like living their life. Going about their day, but you're the one that's burnt by this thing, and you're not like letting it go, and you're feeling that heaviness.
And it's like our energy is our currency. Like where we place our energy is what's going to again dictate like where we get to in life. And if some of your energy is going into things like that, like that's so much wasted energy that you could be putting into creating your future and creating like your dream life and where you want to go as well.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And it's like something that's like connected as well that we always say, but it's like even in a relationship, it's like the opposite to loving someone, whether it's an ex or something like that. It's not hate. Like if you hate someone and you still hate to break to you still have feelings for them.
You do.
That's it. And like so that's something I learned as well. Like if you're still hating on someone and if you're still shitting on someone that you used to date, like
you still have some sort of like energy towards that person there.
100%.
It's like you get to that stage of indifference.
Exactly. Neutrality.
It is what it is.
Exactly.
Do you know
like,
what I mean?
when you can just be completely neutral towards a person, like that is when your power is regained.
Yeah.
Like, when you can be like, I hope they do well and don't really mind about like what they're doing. Their life doesn't bother me, doesn't faze me, but like hope they're getting on grand. Like when you can get to that point, like that is power. Like that is like real, like actual power in terms of like you have so much more energy back to create like whatever life you want when you're not holding on to that hatred or that like negative energy towards someone.
You've taken the lessons that you can from the situation, and then you're just indifferent towards that person, and you're staying in your own lane and then using your energy towards what you want to create.
100%. And like even with situations like that, like me and you always say it, but it's like perspective as well. It's like every single person, like no matter where you are in the world that's in a similar place and location is like experiencing the same reality. But it's like your perception on like what's happened, it's going to dictate like how you feel on a day-to-day basis as well. And even like perception with things that have happened in the past, because something really shitty could have happened to two people, right? And one person could take lessons from that and they can grow and evolve into this human who's like impacting so many people's lives and helping so much people and like taking so much inspiration from that shitty situation. Or someone else could like stay and hold on and cling on to that story for the rest of their entire lives and never be happy again.
Yeah.
So like it's always about like your perspective that will dictate your fulfillment, happiness in life as well. Like 100%.
Your perspective changes everything. We are kind of all experiencing a different reality on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Like, I think I said that to you last week or something. I was coming home from the gym and I just got like a really deep thought, and I was like, oh, like these girls look so happy, like they're probably so happy they're in Bali and stuff like that. But then if I was in a bad mood and I was like, oh, the weather's fucking shite, they're experiencing a different reality to what I'm experiencing right now, and they're gonna have a better day than me. Because say if in that instance I was like really, really negative, and that's fine to be down and stuff, like you're human at the end of the day, but like that, if something happened to you and you're just like letting that dictate your reality, that's all you're ever going to experience.
Exactly.
Do you know, it's just becoming like your outer world is a mirror of your inner world.
Exactly.
That's what I always say.
It's so true.
To finish it off, what is something that you used to believe 5 years ago that you no longer believe now?
Great question. Well, like I remember like even 3 years ago, I thought like making 3K a month or 4K a month, like my whole life will be made. But I think just back to even 5 years ago, just what I believe to be possible, 10x is what I can actually accomplish as well. And the abundance that's in the world and like how much you and how far you can actually get with consistent action is just insane, like in a sense as well. So I suppose mainly that me 5 years ago would have looked at people living this kind of life, been like, that is not possible for me. But now me believes that like the word that like anything you want in life you can create and do. Like there's nothing that's out of limit and there's nothing that's out of reach. So I think just the belief that anything is possible for anyone, there's zero limits to like making that your reality as well. Whereas like me 5 years ago would have been like, no, maybe not. Like
just like finding excuses.
Exactly, finding excuses.
The world is your oyster.
The world is your oyster, and like you can create anything you want. Like anything you want. There's like no limit to what you can't do. Like you can do anything.
Yeah, the only limit is you. But let's not let that be a limit.
No,
if you're listening.
Absolutely not.
So if anybody resonated with your story or they want to like follow your journey, where can people find you?
Emma McCabe Mindset on Instagram. EMCCABE Mindset.
Thank you so much for coming on. I really
problem.
enjoyed this conversation.
I loved it as well. This is me or just chatting on a weekly basis.
It is. So you just got an insight of our like coffee chats.
Clearly. Thank you so much for having me on.